This is not where I wanted to be, RJ, after last game.
I know, man. I know. Welcome to ECH post game live, everyone. Presented by Queen Anne Beer Hall. I'll take over on it for this one because
Okay.
we're in opposite land, and the
Yeah.
Kraken really should have won this game, but they didn't.
Yeah, the Kraken did everything that they could to kind of win it. They got a good performance from Grubauer. The team was on it. You won the shot battle. You lost the face-off battle. Like everything lined up for the Kraken. It was just again the power play. Stop
Yeah,
me if you've heard this before, everybody. The power play, like it's unbelievably bad, RJ, to the point where you have a 5-on-3. You get a couple decent looks. You take a timeout so you could draw something up, and then come back out with like another minute left of 5-on-3 and proceed to do nothing. How is that
yeah.
even possible?
I know they had one good look on that 5-on-3, post timeout, and the frustrating part about it is that Jordan Eberle was talking at intermission about what they needed to do better to beat Blackwood, and the answer was just shoot quicker. And because he had that chance in front of the net where he had the opportunity to kind of take a one timer,
Yep.
he waited a little bit, lost his angle, and so I think he recognized that. Matty Beniers hits him with a great pass in the slot. He could one time that puck. And that's the
Yep.
best chance of the power play.
Yep.
Instead, he holds off on it, throws it to Jared McCann along the side, but it gives Blackwell more time. I mean, Blackwood, sorry, I'm going to making this mistake, more time to recover. I just don't know what they really drew up there if it wasn't that Eberle play. And then if not, why don't you pull the trigger there? So, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, has Eberle been cold lately? Like, yeah, from a scoring standpoint, he has been, and I wonder if that's kind of gotten in his head a little bit. The fact that 50 games in, only 10 goals coming into this one, like that's what it looked like because he had a couple chances tonight where he kind of hesitated and gave Blackwood the opportunity to come over and make saves or get into position and take away his good scoring looks, and it just that to me is the sign of a player who's maybe in their own head a little bit.
And no goals in his last 11 games. So,
Yeah.
that'll probably contribute.
That's very much what it feels like. Had a feeling might be hearing from Devil's Joint a little bit in chat tonight.
We were ready for it.
We were ready. Unfortunately, the Kraken did hold up to their parts. So we'll start off with this first one here from Devil's Joint. Dougie the Hammer Hamilton, standing ovation. It was a heck of a game from Dougie Hamilton. I will give Dougie Hamilton that. 2 goals. I mean, it was a strong performance from him. Just the Kraken, I mean, struggling with the activated defense from the Devils tonight. Totally, because you also got John Moreno with a goal.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, the Moreno goals, the
empty netter,
but the Hamilton, the 2 goals on the power play, I think this is the weakness of the new kind of more conservative, going with that box instead of the wedge +1 on the PK. You're going to give up more room at the point. And normally that's okay. There are very few guys who play the point, on a power play that can beat you from that spot like Dougie Hamilton did twice. But Hamilton is one of those rare breed where he's got that shot that just is so powerful, so accurate that he can beat you twice in a game. And I remember watching that great Devils Golden Knights game earlier this season that went into overtime, and we were watching it, of course, rooting for the Devils there. And he just had this laser in overtime, and Logan Thompson, I think it was, had gotten across. He was square to it. There's nothing more he could do, but that Dougie Hamilton just has a heck of a shot.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of Dougie wherever he's been, whether it's been Boston, Calgary, Carolina, now New Jersey. Like, he's just a fantastic player. I've always felt he's kind of been underrated offensively, and we saw it tonight, unfortunately, for the Kraken. James, no Matty point, no Kraken win. Matty has gone cold lately, as have all the Kraken's top lines. Need more. 1,000% agree. I mean, this has been kind of the story of the last month and a half. Is like, okay, the Kraken are getting wins, but like they're relying on depth. No one person is kind of shouldering that load. And while it sounds counterintuitive, that tends to be how teams find consistency, is by having one or two of their top guys being ultra consistent. That's kind of how the NHL works over long stretches of time. And right now for the Kraken, I mean, yeah, Matty's looked good. He looked better today than he did last game. Like, Matty has come back looking strong. But yeah, just nobody seems to have a nose for the net right now.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, top six scoring, it is missing. I'm kind of looking back here and the Kraken, you know,
No.
back,
Yeah.
back to late January, they've got, I'm looking back to like the Vancouver game, even, talking 3 weeks ago, they've got two top six, forward goals in that time. And it's, Wenberg with one of them and, McCann with the other. Like you do need more from your top six, especially one goal total in these last two games, just going to cut it.
No, it's definitely not. Adam Larson, though, proven why he should be on the power play. Just saying. That with that goal, it was a sweet shot. All right, sorry you guys didn't get to watch the magical Jack Hughes from Devil's Joint. Yes, I talked about him disappearing. This is not what I meant when I said he disappears whenever we play, is that he wasn't going to play at all. That's not what I meant, I promise. And then also Blackwood robbed Maddie multiple times point blank. He was a wall. This is something because there's tons and tons of comments in here about Mackenzie Blackwood. So let's just address him right now, kind of for all of those comments, RJ, because lots of people talking about how he hasn't been that good this year. However, when we played the Devils not that long ago, he was a wall and he was a difference in that game and was the reason why that game went to overtime. And again tonight, he was a wall and was the difference in the game, at least early on, kind of keeping the Kraken when the Kraken were really in control of the game. He was the thing that was keeping the Devils in it.
Absolutely. And it started with that amazing side to side save on the Kraken's first big chance of the game on that 2-on-1, Donato to
Jaden Schwartz.
Jaden Schwartz. Yeah. Who, I mean, should have had a tap in, but he somehow got the leg on it. And that really set the tone for the whole night. And we saw this. Yeah. When Blackwood came to Seattle, and played in that game earlier this season, he made 36 saves, had a heck of a game, got that one to overtime for the Devils. Some goalies just match up better against certain teams. And when they get that confidence going, they can be hard to beat.
Yeah, and we heard Edzo, if you were listening to the Root Sports broadcast, just all night long. Shoot up high, like elevate the puck. Got to get up high. Like, what are you doing? Just keep shooting at his pads. He's gonna stop those like every single time. It's interesting because it's kind of like the Jack Hughes situation that I was talking about last time, where it's like the couple times the Kraken have played and Jack Hughes has been in for the Devils, Jack Hughes hasn't looked very good. So like you have then this skewed perception of him. It's the exact opposite with Blackwood. It's like if you're just a Kraken fan and you only watch Kraken games, you think Mackenzie Blackwood's like the best goaltender out there. You know what I mean? Because he's just looked dynamite these two games. Meanwhile, everybody in chat is like, he's been terrible the rest of the year or whatever. And it's like, yeah, but you know what? He can put up a 9-7-1 against the Kraken and he makes it look easy. It is interesting how when you're playing particularly these out of conference games, how you can have those skewed perceptions of players just because of the small sample size.
For sure. And that's how goaltending works.
Definitely. Kraken Hawk. Okay, guys, break is over. We can start winning again. Otherwise, we're going to really fall behind in the standings. Yes, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Vegas is winning 5-1 right now. Edmonton just lost, but it wasn't a shootout, so they still pick up a point. Like we talk about the Kraken having games in hand. This is where they're making up those games in hand. Not getting points in them is not good. It's certainly not ideal.
Yeah, definitely. And even in a game like this that was really close, it was a goalie battle that kind of obscured, the chance imbalance and all of that. You've got to find a way to pick up a point in this one. You can accept an overtime loss and just kind of what was kind of a weird game and a goalie battle. Mm-hmm. You got to get there though. You got to get to overtime and really, I mean, we'll talk about this, later or whatever, but the difference was a dumb penalty.
Yes, it was the dumb penalty. I mean, we could talk about it right now. Hunter, special teams single-handedly lost us this game. I agree with it. And unfortunately, for far too many Kraken regulation losses this season, it has been because of special teams. Like that is the thing we come back to. If it wasn't the PK earlier this season, it's the power play now. Just keeping goals off the board. Like these are opportunities we talked about come playoff time. Those opportunities are that much more valuable. You have to be able to convert, and the Kraken just look incapable of it right now.
Yeah, completely. They had their chance to kind of, to create that gap, to put things away. And you're like you said, in the playoffs, it's those little things, that make all the difference in a close game. And this is practice for that. You've got to get ready. You've got to learn your lesson from it.
Yep. Ben, definitely not the reason we lost, but I get nervous pulling the goalie when we're not scoring on the power play. It does look a little like, oh, is this actually helping us in this scenario? Given the other times, especially in the game like this where you had so much time 5-on-3 and you weren't able to make anything happen. For me, that whole thing is just because, look, Matty Beniers, love him. He's a fantastic player. Dude is just not anywhere close to being ready to take those kinds of face-offs right now. He's just not.
You
And the
got to have a
Kraken,
better option to take that draw.
absolutely. And I felt that way before it even happened. I was just like, oh, there's just no, like, you just have this feeling like he's not going to win it. Because the bottom line is, this is lately for him, these last couple of weeks, 33% tonight on the face-off dot. That's actually good for him. That
Mhm.
shouldn't be good for anybody, but, there was so many games in the 20s, and it's just like the Kraken need to find somebody who can handle faceoffs. And you look on a night like tonight, Wenberg at 50% was your best guy on the draw, and
Yeah,
nobody over
at
50%
50%.
again. Ugh.
Yeah, and you look at Wenberg wins a clutch draw to set up the Kraken's goal that they did
Yep.
score, and
Yep.
and that makes a big difference in the game. This one over on the right side, I mean, you'd like a right-hander too, but all you've got is Morgan Geekie there, and I mean, look, he might be able to win in the draw, but he's probably not going to help you score once he does.
Yeah.
So it's just tough. You can't have your 4C out there.
Absolutely. No worries, Devil's join. We know what you got to do tonight on a game like tonight. We get it. Kraken Hawk, how concerned are we with Berkey missing time? Well, we talked about the needing kind of the consistency up top, needing your kind of your better players to play like your better players and stuff. And obviously having Andre Burakovsky out means that he can't contribute in that way. That being said, as far as like actually being concerned with like what the injury is and everything, we still don't know what it is.
Yeah, exactly. But it's something that's going to be a little while. It's going to be week to week, and putting him on IR, communicates that right away. As far as the effects of him being out, look, we talked about it. The Kraken just need to get some scoring going from their top
Yep.
six, and that's one fewer option that's available to help them do that. He wasn't exactly lighting the world on fire as
Yeah.
he was heading out, but you never know when he was just going to turn it on again. Because look, that's the book on Burakovsky. He's hot and he's cold, and maybe in a world where he didn't get hurt there, you have an oncoming hot streak, and that helps right the ship. But that's just not going to be an option.
I was gonna say I have to think you missed him on that 5-on-3. Having
Mm-hmm.
his shot, not having to then rely on a one-timer like they kind of were trying to do, but the fact that he can just kind of pull up and shoot, step up and shoot, or he's so good at doing those cross zone tape to tape passes. When you give him an opportunity like a 5-on-3 where he's got the ice and the time and space to set one of those up, then maybe you can get the one-timer to work just because he can get so much zip on those passes. So as far as feeling the effects of him not being in the lineup, I felt like the 5-on-3s might be where we feel that the most. Tammy, I was surprised we put Matty out for that face-off. I get that we want him out there, but we need to win that one. So echoing what we were just talking about there.
Yeah, and on the face-off stuff too, getting some more
Mhm.
recent comments. Rebecca, he's not going to win it. The Kraken face-off experience,
Yep.
and Wheeler House Squad. I've seen enough. Give me Ryan O'Reilly. I mean, the Devils join agreeing that they should trade for a center just that can win face-offs and head to the bench.
Yeah, that's been the talk around whether it was Bo Horvat pre his trade to the Islanders, whether it's Ryan O'Reilly now, whether it's the people who have brought up Jonathan Taves. Like the whole basis around all of those is not that, oh, you need a center. It's just no, you just need someone who can win faceoffs. That's literally it. Like you're just out there trying to find whoever can win you faceoffs. And it's something that is starting to become really, really worrying for me. It was one thing. Why it's becoming so much more worrying for me is because we're seeing nights like tonight where it's a 20% gap in face-off win percentage where it's 60-40, and that's starting to become more common. Back when I was like making fun of the whole like, oh, they're winning the games when they're losing the face-off battle, the Kraken were still winning like 48% of the time. Like it was small margins that they were losing on those games that they were winning. It's hard to lose the face-off battles, with 40%, or in some cases even less than 40% we've seen from them lately. It is so hard to win games if you're doing that consistently. Like it's just not going to happen. So whether it's bringing in a Ryan O'Reilly or a bigger piece like that, or even just, hey, Let's pull up the analytics board. Who's really solid in these clutch, face-off positions? Who can we maybe find at a discount and add in that's not going to rock the boat as much? The Kraken do need to consider doing something at the trade deadline here for this.
Yeah.
JMG with the super chat. Offense really struggling. 1 goal in 2 games isn't going to win you many games. Yeah, no, it's not going to win you many games. It's not going to, arguably it won't win you any games, realistically. Yeah, it's a tough situation that they find themselves in. They need to get more goals, RJ, whether it's on the power play or 5-on-5. Like, it used to be that they could score enough 5-on-5 to offset for the power play. We're seeing now that if you come back down to earth 5-on-5 and you don't have that power play to help supplement, it's brutal.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I you've seen power play struggles for teams in the past when you get on a cold streak like that. You have to play even better, because look, the Kraken didn't allow a 5-on-5 goal all game.
Yeah,
they won the 5-on-5 battle 1-0 tonight.
Yeah,
but you sometimes that's not enough. You need to get more contributions, and that comes from your best players.
Yeah, exactly. And they had chances. You just got to find a way to convert those. You can't let Mackenzie Blackwood get the better of you all the time. Absurdly saying, I'm not worried. There was a huge improvement from the other night, just shaking off some rust. I do agree with that. The energy level was better tonight from the Kraken. They were generating more chances. They were up and down the ice. Defense much improved. Those D pairs way better. It was nice to see Justin Schultz come back in, and he looked pretty good. In it didn't seem like he played a ton. 17 minutes, but he looked good. He was moving around well.
And they were trying to ease him back into things, I'm sure, coming off of that injury, being week to week. But yeah, the D pairs look better for sure. I mean, Alexiak Borgen looked a lot better. They had a very rough game against the Islanders, but they had about 67% of expected goals here via Money Puck. That's a big improvement, and it was clear that they were trustworthy.
Definitely. Coop, gosh darn it, that was frustrating. It was. Losing when you only give up power play goals sucks. Definitely. As we were just talking about, Ty goalied on this one, failed to convert the 3-on-5 and missing open nets on a couple opportunities. Much better effort overall, but bad penalties, and PK does us in. New Jersey is good too, lol. Yeah, I mean, we do have to remember New Jersey's been a pretty good team this year too. So there's, it's not the worst thing in the world to kind of get goalied and lose on special teams against a team like that. But it's just rough after that last game too. I was hoping for a little more of a bounce back. Hunter, I don't know what's worse, the power play or the penalty kill. I think it's the power play after this one.
Yeah,
myself.
I got to go power play. Even though the PK was in this game probably worse, I think a lot of that is just how they match up against the Devils' power play. Dougie Hamilton's a unique player, and it just happened to match up poorly against the Kraken's new system.
Yep, basics. As far as losses go, that was an excellent game. Grew was outstanding. Just a couple bad penalties was the difference against a top-tier opponent. So yeah, everybody kind of coming to this consensus. I think that's where we're all at. Grew was outstanding. Like, again, we'll see what Martin Jones does tomorrow. But if Martin Jones kind of has a similar game maybe to that Islanders game, I think that's where we can start looking at Grew should be getting more starts. I know I keep saying this, but he's playing good. And given how much flack he was kind of catching earlier in the season, I feel like I have to say it each time he plays well.
Yeah, well, and especially because he's not really treated as a starter yet. It's the kind of thing where I've been saying, I'll believe it when I see it. And I think I'll still need to see Grubauer starting on Super Bowl Sunday in order to get the inkling that maybe he is viewed as the starter.
Yep, for sure. Wenberg finished the puck. I know it can be frustrating watching Wenberg sometimes. Let's see.
I didn't want to make a pass. I was trying not to make a pass joke on that one where he sent it right back through the crease the other way. I do think he was trying to shoot that puck.
Yeah. Let's see, James. I don't want us to give up a top prospect for a top 2-line forward, but at this point we kind of need it. So, I mean, let's talk about that. I think it's possible that the Kraken could make a deal for, say, a Ryan O'Reilly without having to give up a prospect and just using the draft capital that they already have.
I think so too. I mean, you're going to have to go kind of bargain hunting. And I think there are going to be deals out there to be had. You just can't maybe zero in on a specific forward. You have to look at how the market shakes out. Ryan O'Reilly is someone that I kind of zeroed in on today and talked to you a lot about this earlier as we were recording Red Glare as an option that I would like. And you probably aren't going to have to give up more than a second given the down season that he's had. There are ways to acquire that forward more cheaply.
Yeah, agreed. And so I think we could find a way to keep everybody that we already have and then just use because we got how many seconds? 3?
Yeah, 3 second
So
round
you
picks.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's a lot of ammunition you could be using in a situation like that. And then yeah, the one thing you have to worry about with Ryan O'Reilly is the fact that he's, having such a rough year that hopefully he could turn it around once making the move over to Seattle. CR Bud with the super chat. How's it going? Is there any chance Burakovsky has been dealing with some injury for a while? Hasn't really looked right for months. It's always possible in the NHL that somebody's had a lingering issue and then you don't find out about it till the end of the year. Absolutely possible. It's just one of those things that everybody, for the most part, they will keep that under wraps completely until the end of the year when they know it's not going to, be a disadvantage for them to let everybody know.
Exactly. And if you recall, maybe gosh, like a month ago, he was definitely dealing with something during a morning skate, whether it was
Yep.
injury or something else, we don't know. He ended up scoring the game winner that night in overtime, but then I think he ended up missing the next game. So he was dealing with something. There's some other injury that did exist there. We don't know whether he's better from that or not, but yeah, it's certainly possible, and that could explain the lack of scoring.
Yeah. Tammy, why can't we score for Gru? RJ, it's the Kraken's greatest question.
I know. One goal of goal support. I just
Yep.
I don't know why they can't. Yeah,
Hey,
Lindsay,
that's better than I
get
was gonna
Grubauer some goal support challenge. Impossible.
I was gonna say technically got more than Martin Jones did.
Yeah, you
since
know what?
since
There
the
we go.
All-Star break, he's actually
Grubauer has the
leading
more goal
Martin
support.
Jones. Yeah, so just putting that out there.
Yeah.
Let's see. Striatic. That was a really fun game for a long time. Why did it not end fun? I will say this. Moreno's empty net goal. That was one of the flashier empty net goals I've seen in a while. That was a lot of ping pong, and he got on that puck going in.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
Uh,
not quite the fun we want, but it was I guess fun. Let's see, Lindsay. It's time to sell the franchise. 2 L's in a row. The wheels are coming off. JK, but that L still sucked. I really wanted that cryptid cup. Did you see that on
yes, that
Twitter?
was so cool. That was
Yeah.
so cool. Hey, the Kraken will get their hands on it at some point. It won't be till maybe next season, but they'll win it at some point.
Yeah, definitely. Gregory with the Grubauer played his butt off. We just got goalie tonight. It's really rough. Coop in here with both McCann, stop shooting into the chest. Everly Schwartz, Maddie do something. Bjorky finished the puck. I mean, it's just been everybody, but like that puts it in a perspective of what the Kraken are kind of dealing with right now, where it's all of those guys cumulatively not doing anything that is part of the reason why they're struggling right now.
Yeah, I mean, how much Dylan, do you think this is just kind of regression from it for
I
a
didn't
long
want to
time?
say it. I
All right,
didn't
well,
want to say it.
fine. I'll bring it up
No,
because
yeah,
it
do
needs
it.
to be brought up.
It
Like, look,
does.
we were talking about this, how everybody was scoring, like up and down the lineup in a
Yep.
way that looking at the numbers, it felt unsustainable, at least to that level. Like, do you think this is just simple regression there?
I brought this up when we did our mid-season grades that the Kraken shooting percentage for most of these guys was exceptionally high, and that it worried me, and that it was something I thought could come around to kind of get them as the season went on. And it does unfortunately look like that's happening. Matty Beniers is still, well, this doesn't count tonight's game, but Matty Beniers 18.3% shooting percentage. That's high for anybody. Like that's still high. Jared McCann still going into this game 23.2. Like there's still room for regression there. Daniel Sprong at 17%. There's room for regression there. Like these numbers are still scary high, even after these last couple of games. Tolvanen at 20%. Like it's one of those things where it was like I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to jinx it. I didn't want to bring it up after last game. I didn't want to bring it up tonight. But the bottom line is that yes, through most of this season, a lot of the Kraken were shooting at unsustainable rates, or they were scoring at unsustainable rates. They can shoot however much they want. It doesn't mean it's going to go in all the time. And it's just an unfortunate reality that the Kraken are kind of having to deal with now. And it's partly because, look, they don't have one person who's just totally going for it and trying to win with shot volume. I mean, Oliver Bjorkstrand, again, coming into this game, by far and away the leader with shots on goal at only 129.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a lot compared to, look at volume shooters from around the league at this point in the season after 50 games. You know what I mean? They only have 3 players over 100 shots on goal. So it's still one of those things where I don't know if they just all need to be shooting more or what the situation needs to be, but I do think that this kind of lower scoring is something that we could see for a little while if everybody is starting to regress at the same time.
Yeah, and it gets in people's heads too. The longer you go without scoring, the harder it can be. We've seen that with Bjorkstrand earlier this season, with Donskoy, heck, Eberle. On these
Yeah.
streaks, we know he's a streaky player. It can happen that way for even a team collectively.
Yeah, definitely. DJ and Tay, see, we made a trade, and the chemistry and magic is gone. Leave a good thing alone. Is this all just Jacob Megna's fault, RJ?
I guess clearly you can't argue with that. That's the thing that's changed. Even though he was out of the lineup tonight, Jacob Megna somehow messing up the chemistry from the
The
press box.
the D pairs are still shifted though.
Yeah. Although that's not the trade's fault at this
I
point.
know.
Now that Schultz is back.
Yeah, we'll see.
Um,
We'll see what they're like tomorrow, but I could certainly see maybe after tomorrow them going back to the way that they've been all season long. It
yeah.
wouldn't surprise me. Let's see. You don't have to like the results to like the stream from Tammy. Love it, Tammy. Thank you. Leanne, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Okay, no, I'm mad. At least my Atlanta Hawks are poised to win. So, all right. Well, there's always that.
There you go.
I think Alexiak has been terrible since the break these past 2 games. Definitely agree with you, Coop, on last game, but like as RJ said, I mean, he was okay tonight. That pairing was okay tonight. They really weren't that bad.
Yeah, no, they were actually all right tonight. Yeah, that Alexiak Borgen pair. I thought Alexiak was miles better tonight than he was in the last game. And if he can just keep that trajectory going, should be all right. But I do think I would like to see him back with Schultz if Schultz is feeling up to playing those second pair minutes.
Yeah. Ben, they elevate the puck on just a few of those shots, and it's a completely different game. 100% agree. Like
Yep.
that is a big deal, and it feels like this isn't the first time. And I don't just mean the other game where we played the Devils and Mackenzie Blackwood was good. That does feel like it's kind of just a common thread for the Kraken, which is interesting, RJ, considering you think of like how many goalies the book on them is, go like high glove or go, over there. A lot of them are to shoot high. And it is interesting given how high so many of their shooting percentages is. You would have thought that they are shooting maybe high.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's in situations like the on the McCann shot or Schwartz, basically where the puck is moving and you've got it on your stick for a short amount of time, and that's why the goalie's down. It's why the goalie's in that vulnerable position and up high is there. You don't have a whole lot of time to think, about
Right.
lifting it. You're just trying to get something on it and shoot and go. Yeah,
Yep.
it's easy to get into that headspace.
Definitely. Flames lose, Oilers lose in a shootout. Vegas will win though. Meh from Striatic. I know it wasn't a great night for the Kraken around. Jen letting us know that was Grubauer's first loss versus the Devils. So, you'd mentioned it last time. You go with based on their history against each of these 2 teams as far as figuring out who gets which game. That's definitely going with the history in favor of starting Grubauer if he's never lost to New Jersey.
Yeah, definitely. And I remember this the last time the Kraken played the Devils, the one that was at home, where I believe it was Martin Jones that got the start. And it was weird because Grubauer has never lost to them, but Jones had actually had the better career save percentage against the Devils. They both had very good numbers. Yeah. So they didn't go with the guy who had never lost then, but they do now. And it results in a loss.
Yeah, that is interesting. Go check yourself. Result aside, wanted to pop in and say thank you guys for starting to upload the post-game lives on Spotify. Being on the East Coast, it's a huge help being able to stay tuned in easier. You are very welcome. And then, I got to think also for these East Coast games, then for the West Coast audience, it's hard sometimes to, hop in. It's only 7:08 right now. We've already been in here for half an hour. People still, just dealing with getting home from work and dinner and all that kind of stuff. So glad everybody's liking it. We have had fantastic numbers on those, so thank you.
Yeah, those have been
everybody.
doing great. Thanks everyone for the feedback. Definitely, you made it clear you wanted those, and you weren't kidding.
Yes. Devil's Joint. Did you guys know Rule 84.1 says that if you pull your goalie in overtime and you lose, you forfeit your 1 point?
I did know that.
I didn't. That's wild
Oh,
to me.
really?
Now,
Yeah.
now I got to assume like a delayed penalty situation doesn't count.
Well, I don't know. I don't know because I mean it's so rare that a goalie. I mean, you'd still do it. It wouldn't affect anyone's behavior because if you do it for a delayed penalty, then it's so rare that the puck would go in your own net. It's
Yeah.
when if you get scored on while you have the goalie pulled,
Oh, oh,
not if you
okay.
just
Not
pull your
like
goalie at any
like ever.
point.
I'm like, because I'm thinking like you do that for a power play, you manage not to score on that power play, and then they come down and score on you. You lose, or you lose in the shootout. You don't get your point anymore. Like,
No, no, no.
that's
It's
okay.
if you have that goal scored on
Oh
you while you
yeah,
got the goalie pulled.
yeah. That's never happening then.
Yeah.
But that's your answer, RJ. That's your answer to
What?
your whole getting rid of the loser point. Just make it so that like every team has to pull their goalies. They play 4-on-4, no goalies.
There's so
You'll
much
never see the I know. I was just trying to break you. That's fine. Kepler, what's the
halfway
record for
there, man.
yeah. What's the record for most combined turnovers in a game? Those first two periods were pretty hilarious. There was a lot of turnovers in this one. Kind of interesting to see that at the final result for the Kraken is only 6 giveaways. I kind of like don't
Yeah.
believe that. Doesn't seem right to
Felt
me.
like more than that. I know the Devils were just turning it over in their own zone over and over and over again. Somehow the Kraken couldn't convert on all of those, but so many turnovers.
Yeah, only 14 for the whole game for the Devils too, which seems low. Like we've
Yeah.
seen numbers significantly higher than that in other games, so I don't know what was going on there. Maybe whoever the league officials in New Jersey are, they just don't. They have a very high bar for what a giveaway is.
Yeah.
um, let's see. Oh yeah, there's the face-off experience one. James, may be a bad question, but I get Beniers is young and has less strength, but why does he end up on his butt 80% of the time on face-offs? Is that technique or is it weakness? Why is he getting beat so easily? Do you have an answer, RJ?
I mean, it's a good question, and I still kind of wonder that myself. I'm sorry I don't have a solid answer for you on that.
Yes.
I know what you're talking about, though. Like I do recognize that, and you know what? I go to every practice when they work on faceoffs after practice. That happens a lot too. Even like against Shane Wright in those practice faceoffs, Matty Beniers just kind of ends up on his butt after a lot of them. I don't know why that is. I would have to think that's not good technique unless you're intentionally kind of just trying to, muck it up and
Yeah,
not have a clean win for the other guy if you're trying to take it like a D zone draw. That's a good question.
it
I
is.
should look into that.
I was gonna say maybe you can ask him about it when he comes back.
I know it's an awkward one to ask about, but like, he's got a good sense of humor. I
Yeah,
think he would see the humor
yeah.
in that.
It is one of those things where I tend to lean towards it must be a specific technique by Maddie that's leading to that situation arising so frequently for him. Because, I mean, we've seen guys significantly smaller than him be fine and not end up in that situation on the face-offs. Like they might not win a bunch, but they're certainly not ending up just taken out of the play essentially the way he sometimes ends up that way. I will just reiterate though for like newer people listening to us. I mean, this is something I think the last time I significantly brought it up was post expansion draft. So for just about everybody who's now listening to us, 3 years tends to be the normal like thing for top prospects as far as when they kind of get the handle on faceoffs or when they feel comfortable enough with the rest of the game that they can spend an off season really focusing on faceoffs. You look at Bergeron, Taves, Crosby, Stamkos, like just look at their career faceoff numbers season by season. Year 3 for most of those guys is usually when you see that kind of significant jump up where they're below 50% year 1, then maybe years 2 they're around 50%, then year 3 and on they're up, 53% or higher depending on who it is. But that tends to be the normal kind of progression for NHL players is that first year you're just focused on everything because it's new and faceoffs aren't a big priority. Year 2 you're still building confidence, getting all that stuff, and then year 3 it's kind of like when you're like, okay, I'm kind of tired of getting beat up here. Like if I want to be an elite guy, I got to take care of these. So and it's not unusual for someone in Maddie's position to have a low face-off win percentage. Maybe it's a little unusual to be this low, but part of that's the team too. I got to think that the team's had issues with it, but just know that like it is something that they normally progress at.
Yeah.
Let's see some more talk about the centers there. Let's see. Where are we?
Yeah, I gotta.
Devil's Joint. Devils are usually better 5-on-5, so Seattle flipped the switch. Kraken first period was great for them. I thought that too, but I did have the thought, RJ, that we've had kind of previously in some of these games. When the Kraken play really well like that and they don't get rewarded with a goal, or they start to get goalied or whatever it is, it's one of those things where you just see it so much in hockey. When that team doesn't get rewarded for that work ethic or whatever, it just, you leave that momentum kind of dying on the vine, and it's very easy for the other team to then grab it and start coming at you. And it felt like, even though you get that Adam Larson goal, you then immediately take the penalty, and it just felt like that momentum, it was just never really solidly in the Kraken's grasp.
Yeah, it's a hockey phenomenon. It's not necessarily just a Kraken thing, but you had to get that feeling after the first period. I think that's why I tweeted like the Kraken shoot up, but you can't let that get to you. You can't let that affect you mentally. Just knowing that you probably should have a lead, but you don't. You can't let it get to you. And I think at a certain point, it does start to wear away at that momentum, for any team really. But the Kraken were definitely, I think, a victim of that tonight.
Yeah, agreed. Walt, I really hate to say this as a Grubauer fan, but Gruby and net, L is handed to us. But yes, he was excellent this game. Excellent, 2 goals on 25 shots. It is just like, again, talk about a hockey thing. Sometimes you can just do this, where a goalie can just play well on a team and just end up, with bad record anyway. Like, it just happens. It's Hockey is so weird in the sense that, we were talking about the shooting earlier and the possible regression and all of that stuff. Hockey is the only sport where you can have an 82 game sample size, but have somebody have a hot streak or a bad streak or just be unlucky and have it last nearly the entire season.
Yeah, it's a uniquely hockey thing that we've just
So
kind of come
weird.
to learn about. I know. It's so odd. And especially the trend through a lot of this season too, when you break down some of those goaltending numbers, Grubauer and Jones actually had pretty similar numbers at even strength. It was the PK where Grubauer's numbers really lagged. And
Yeah.
tonight,
Yeah, it's
same
true.
story.
Same story. Definitely. It's just another weird hockey phenomenon, is that kind of like 82 is just not enough of a sample size for some reason some years. And if you don't believe me, go look at the shooting percentage of any player who's ever played in a contract year.
Yeah.
They somehow find a way to be like 5 percentage points higher. Blaze King Gaming, I don't quite understand how we always only manage 1 to 2 shots at best on a power play. This is the kind of thing that gets to me. Just shoot the puck. Like I get it, you're struggling on the power play, you're having issues setting it up. I don't like the constant one-timer attempts, but to the Kraken's credit, seems like they've moved away from that. But there, at some point, why aren't you just launching a puck, especially 5-on-3? Just you
Yeah.
have 2 extra people there to battle for rebounds. Like, it doesn't
Send him
make
to
any
the net.
sense. Just go for it.
Yeah. Exactly. And I go back to that Eberle one, the missed chance or missed opportunity to shoot from the slot there, and what would have been a good chance. And you know what? Even if Blackwood finds a way to get something on that puck, it's a rebound right out front, and you've got 3 or 4 guys going for it.
Right.
The Devils have 1 or 2 in that spot, and chances are you come away with that puck. So part of it's just that mental switch that they need to flip. Dave Haxtell's talked about this too, whether it's the shooting or whether it's like the defensive awareness and not going behind the net when your D partner is also behind the net. It's just this awareness, this mental switch you have to flip. And I think it's tough after a long break like this. Sometimes it needs some reinforcement.
Yep, definitely. Um, uh, wow, it sounds like Devil's Joint actually helping us out here a little bit. I was worried that there was going to be like a raid of Devils fans in here, but according to Cross Diamonds, sent me to leave a like and sub, says you guys are good, go Kraken. So thank you, Devil's Joint.
Yeah, awesome.
If
Thank
that
you.
was the intent here, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. It seems like it. Now we just got to deal with Sin City in here. We'll just ignore
Yes.
Sin City tonight. There's no reason to talk to Sin City. uh, oh no, I think just jumped on me. Kraken, right here. Grew better save percentage, looked real good. Definitely Harley 14. My focus was on Gruby, 100% poor fella. Yes, and all. team effort. However, the rest of them sort of blah until the third period. The back and forth was awesome for both teams. It was like it was just, it was a much better hockey game than the last game. Like
Yeah.
people have said it already, but like it's worth re-mentioning that this was a much better game.
Yeah, definitely more open. Lots more chances on both sides. The Kraken probably had the best in the first half of the game. Devils probably had the better in the second half of the game. But no matter when it was, there were lots of good chances happening. And yeah, Grubauer, feel bad for him. And can we talk about the play where Miles Wood was kind of fell on him in his crease, and
Yes.
Grubauer, I think, kind of accidentally like wrangles him with the stick by the neck a little bit, but then just like kind of looks at him like, "You all right, buddy?"
Okay. And I'm sure that's what he was asking him too. Miles
Yeah.
Wood, like, what a rough night. You get taken out by the linesman, you accidentally get that done to you in the crease. Like, you're not expecting that going into the hockey game as far as things that could go wrong for you physically. You know what I mean?
No, you're definitely not expecting that.
Oh, the
But
linesman's gonna take me out, and then the goalie's gonna get me.
I know. You expect it more from the goalie, but not from Grubauer. He definitely
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
gentlemanly about it. We'll just say that much.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Harley, do you think Matty B is okay? Obviously, rigorous testing before returning. However, did he seem off or just my perception? We talked a little bit about it earlier, but we can talk about it more. I think Matty's fine. Like, obviously it's a serious injury, all that kind of stuff, but he seems okay to me these last two games.
Yeah, I mean, it's I can't give you the best idea because they're not at home, so I haven't been just kind of
Yeah.
seeing him around the locker room and seeing him in person. I'd probably give you a better indication that way. But as far as what we're seeing on the ice, I mean, he looks like normal hyper perceptive Matty Beniers that we know and recognize, especially some of the plays tonight. I think coming back and covering in his own slot, taking away a chance away from the Devils, and like finding Jordan Eberle wide open in front of the net from that pass, and then McCann the pass in front. You've got to be at the height of your game mentally, and having those that quick thinking that we know from Matty Beniers. If you're feeling foggy, you don't make passes like that.
No, it's the plays like that. It's the playing at full speed and making decisions at full speed. All of that stuff is the stuff that tells me like he's gonna be back for the rest of this season. He was just, again, he was one of those guys that was kind of struggling to find points before the injury. And then now coming out of the injury again, just like really everybody, he's struggling to find points again. I got to think though, he is good enough, and he like the passes you talked about, the plays he can make at the speed he can make them at, he's gonna figure it out. They're gonna come. There's just no way that they don't. Just gonna need a little bit of time. But yeah, it's rough looking at at least his last 6 games played and just no points. It's like, oh, that's brutal.
Yeah.
That is brutal.
And back it up to the Wood thing. I like Devil's Joint. Miles Wood looked like a little baby in Grubauer's arms.
Oh, I love it. Let's see. Just because this isn't the next one up, but I just saw it. Gregory's posting that looks like Thompson got hurt for Vegas.
Ooh, that's rough for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully he's all right.
Yeah.
It's not too long term of a thing, but it's something to monitor. They've
Definitely.
had some injury issues recently.
Definitely. Let's see. Jed in here posted the Alexiak pinup redo. Yeah, I think there's going to be news on those pinups that everybody's been liking, that Jen's been putting together, using the awesome pictures she's been taking for us at the games. So stay tuned for news there, everybody. Let's see. Oh, come on. My thing
I
is
know
like
it's easy.
all
Yeah,
wonky on me right
lost
now.
in the chat.
Yeah. Vegas fans walking in to kick us while we're down. Nah, we just ignore them.
Hey, well, we maybe have him. Devil's Joint just said, all right, I really got to go now. I sent you guys 4 or 5 new subs. It's the best I could do. See you next time, boys. And good job, Jen from Devil's Joint. Thanks for joining us, Devil's Joint. Always good to get that, that other team fan perspective in here. Appreciate, sending the new subs in here too. That's awesome.
Right. Thanks for staying classy with it all. Like, we got no problems with, opposing teams and stuff coming in here after good games like this and talking about it. That's what sports is all about. And you did that. You were awesome tonight. And thanks for sending the subs our way too. That was really, really kind. All right, so let's see. Bryce, Devils had 27 blocked shots. Not too worried about the lack of scoring yet.
They were blocking shots
they
all
were
over the place. That
yeah.
matches the eye test, absolutely. Especially on the when the Kraken were on the power play too. They shot a lot of pucks right into Devils players.
Yeah, and then yet it was the Kraken who like seemed to get the worst of all the block shots tonight,
I
whether it was
know, and it
Vince Dunn or
stung.
Jordan Eberle.
Yep.
Ugh. It's one of those. It's a gamble blocking those shots. Lindsay, 2 games in February, 2 regulation losses. My theory about the Kraken alternating hot and cold months is gaining traction. It is, Lindsay, and like we said last time, February's short month at least.
Yep. Yeah, a lot more games in March.
It's all we can. It's all we can. If that's true and it's looking more and more like it is, then we gotta hope that we just survive February. Let's see. Um, they get down on themselves because they didn't get rewarded. Good coaching is the only thing to stop that devil's joint. Presumably talking about maybe the Kraken and their, why they're all kind of getting these funks and the momentum that we were talking about, not getting rewarded. That is a coaching thing. And we, have talked about that. Like there is only so much that a head coach for a hockey team can do during a game. And most of that is motivating. It's all motivation based and keeping guys up and getting them ready. And Hackstall's done a really good job this year of, generally we're not seeing the slow starts to games or the slow starts to periods that we've seen in years past. So maybe this is just kind of that latest challenge for him, is just, trial and erroring basically to figure out how to get the guys going during rough stretches like this.
Yeah, it's something that they're really not used to last season or this season, having very good starts and not getting rewarded for it. Last year, it was just generally bad starts. Most of the time, it was bad starts. And this season, they've had a lot of good starts, but they've been rewarded for it quite a bit. So it's a new type of challenge, but what we've seen already from Hackstall this season, the coaching staff, I'm confident that, give them enough time and they can fix it.
Yeah. Let's see. Where we're going after that. Yeah, I think it's one of those things that like you talked about. They haven't had to deal with it, but it's just like kind of one of those latest challenges, and better to figure that out now than having to like do it during the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Yes, definitely.
Scott asking, anybody see the debut of the new show What's Kraken on Fox 13 last night? I'm not in the area, so I can't say that I did. That's why.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I know, one of our viewers a few days ago sent me, I don't know whether it was a little like preview thing. It was like a 3-minute long thing from Fox 13. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
And thanks to Daniel for sending that over. So I did see that, but I did not see the full show or everything.
Yeah. I mean, look, I hope it's good. I know it's sort of competition for us, but not really. But I hope that it helps more people find the sport, find the team, and learn to love it. I mean, that's just what we want all the way around.
That's what it's all about. That helps everyone. And if it can just reach more viewers and get them excited about the Kraken, that's what we want.
That's all we want for sure. Striatic, when was the last time the Kraken lost 3 in a row? So as we know, the Kraken have not had a losing streak longer than 3 games this season.
Yeah. It was December 30th. It was at the end of the year. It was to close out the year 2022. There was that Oilers game
with a bang.
Yes, exactly.
That was definitely with a bang. That Oilers
I know.
game.
Yeah, so that 7-2 lost the Oilers. That was the last time they lost 3 in a row. The last time they lost 4 in a row was toward the end of last season. April 27th against LA was the last of those 4.
All right, so last season, but last season was rough all the way around. We'll find out tomorrow night against the Rangers. I mean, I don't know what to expect. They've already said that Tarasenko will be playing for them tomorrow. You never know how that's going to shake out. It could be a thing where, as kind of we've seen, he comes in, throws the chemistry off a little bit. Maybe it's going to take them a couple games to get going with Tarasenko in the lineup. Could also be that he comes in right away, wants to make an impression, can do something fantastic. It's a real mixed bag whenever somebody's traded and then plays the next day with their new team. We can only hope for the former.
Yeah, exactly. But it'll be very interesting to watch. That's for sure. A big storyline going into that one.
Yeah. And, to be honest, the Kraken, obviously Shesterkin has always been somebody who has given the Kraken problems in their history, given a lot of people problems in his history. But I feel like the Kraken have always done a fairly good job against this kind of Rangers system, what Gallant's had going there. Kraken find a way to stay in those games. Even last year when the Kraken found it hard to stay in games with a couple, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. Let's see. Scott said, FYI, I think they're only broadcasting what's Kraken on Wednesday nights. Yeah, that would make sense for them scheduling wise. Devil's Joint, who's back after saying you were leaving twice, saying they have no chemistry, their lines are all over the place. Better crush them. We will definitely try.
heard the word Rangers, had to come back on.
Ears burning. Let's see. Tabby, shout out to Larson for his intermission interview. Lol, classic. I missed it. I was cooking dinner and I missed that they had my boy on. I can only assume though that it was pretty fantastic.
I was cooking dinner too, and I glanced at my phone and saw Piper's tweet, and I'm like, okay, I need to tune in for this. She gave me the good heads up. She's like, you need to hear his quote about what they need to do on the PK. Like, what's the key to the PK? Did you end up hearing what it was?
No.
She's like, all right, so you're starting the next period on a penalty kill. Like, what's the key to go ahead and killing that penalty?
Yeah.
And he said, just kill it. That's it.
There we go. There we go. Just
gave the slightest hint of a smile.
Keep it
almost
simple.
got it. Yep. And I'm sure you saw the picture I tweeted. The deep V, maybe the deepest V yet.
Oh, really?
Did you not see the picture I tweeted?
No, I don't. I don't go on Twitter.
I know you don't go on Twitter. Look at it right now. I will hold down chat. This is your homework.
I'm going. I know.
Okay, Becca Kraken, you kill it.
Yep.
Like, what do you do? You kill it. Yeah, Lars was hilarious.
Wow, that's exceptionally deep. I mean, that's going below the K and Kraken, like the second one.
Yeah, I know, right? That is a very really deep. I feel like he maybe cut it just like another inch down or so after scoring that goal at intermission. Just feel like, yeah, I've got a goal on the board here.
I was gonna say, like, is it that he cut it more, or do you think that like he did something, like he was resting his hands here and then he just like Hulk ripped it down?
That might be the case too. Oh man.
Because like, well, let me pull out this one.
Yeah, and Rebecca's saying Piper even teased the deep V in her tweet. She knows what the people want. She does. Like, as someone I talk to her regularly, she does know what the people want.
Yeah. I was gonna say, looking at the one I have here, that's a good 1.5 to 2 inches clearance above the A in Kraken.
Yeah.
On that one.
All right. So we have proof. We have evidence that the V has gotten deeper.
To. Yes.
We'll have to get his for next season and just compare.
Yes, every year. I wouldn't complain about that.
Yeah. Eventually Lars's shirts will just be vests.
I say go for it. Why not? Oh man, yeah, everybody's in here about that. Bummer I missed it. I'll go back and watch the replay of the game. Absurdly saying, I'm convinced that Lars is one of those guys who in conversation has a bone dry sense of humor that flies right under a lot of people's radar. It does sound like that. Like talking with other reporters who are around the team more often, it very much sounds like that's the case.
I've heard him chatting with teammates in the locker room. 100% true. 100% true. And I gotta like sometimes try and just hold back my laughter because like I'm not in the conversation, I'm just overhearing this.
Yeah.
But yeah, really good stuff.
Definitely. SJ, Rangers have been on a heater. Have they been? Fine, but their chemistry's off now because they added in 2 new people.
So. Yeah, see, it'll outdo the Magna trade because there's 2 of them.
Yeah, exactly. That's way worse than what we're dealing with chemistry wise. Stratic, he's playing the long game. The long V game, that's for sure. The long deep V game. All right. We'll do a last call here for any sort of other questions or comments about vests, deep Vs, any of that kind of stuff. Devil's Joint. Okay, I swear I'm out.
I like Rebecca. Devil's Joint can't quit us.
Nope, definitely can't. Next season we should collaborate on the post game or do a live stream with us 3 for the whole game. Think about it. Yeah, I guess this is it for us playing you guys.
It is. Yeah, that's it for the season.
It's been real.
Until the cup finals, maybe.
Yes.
They are not on a heater.
Oh, definitely good stuff. Oh, I love it. Yeah, so as far as what the As far as what the Kraken need to do for tomorrow, RJ, if you could fix one thing, what are you fixing? And you can't say special teams. You'd have to either say
All right.
PK or power play.
Oh, okay. I can still pick one of those two. I thought you were saying like at even strength. Like they were good at even strength.
Yeah, no. I just didn't. You can't just be like special teams. Like that's too broad.
Power play, because the Rangers don't have a Trouba. I mean, damn it, the Rangers don't. Sorry, the Rangers don't have a
Trouba.
They very much do have a Trouba. I was thinking of their blue line. The Rangers don't have a Dougie Hamilton, so I think you're okay PK wise. Although
Keandre
finish
Miller
out on those one timers, and like their power play is really good. Okay,
yeah, it's really good. That's what I'm saying. Like the obvious, it's a kind of like a trick question because it's like you want to say the power play, but like this might be a game where you need the PK.
I know. I'm still gonna say power play because it's gonna be hard to score on Shesterkin at even strength.
Yeah. All right. I agree with that. I still think that that's a bigger thing is that they need to get that confidence going because the bottom line is if they're scoring on the power play, it means one of those guys in the top 6 that hasn't been doing much is probably doing the scoring in that scenario. And if that's going to wake them up and get them going at 5-on-5 as well, then I think the power play needs to be it. So Kraken need to figure out the power play. Whatever Paul McFarland was drawing up during that timeout on the 5v3, don't ever draw that up again. Like these are the lessons from this game. Like I don't know what you could possibly have drawn up and then gone out there and done what they did. Like that is brutal. But yes,
throw
Rebecca
away that whiteboard.
Yeah, Rebecca pointing out Rangers are their power play. Basically, I am looking at it like Zibanejad 25 goals this season, 14 on the power play. Trocheck 14 goals this season, 8 of them on the power play. Like so, the Kraken.
So what we're saying is tonight better not be the start of a PK slump.
No, gosh, don't even say that. But yeah, it's one of those things. Like the Kraken, maybe they've got some guys shooting at unsustainable clips, shooting percentage wise. These are unsustainable power play numbers, or they're very much just being propped up by their power play numbers. SJ pointing out they also have an Adam Fox. It's true.
Yeah, that is true.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks one more time to Queen Anne Beer Hall for sponsoring these. Keep in mind, everybody, tomorrow, if you're in the area or something, it's an early game. You get off work, don't want to commute home, deal with rush hour. You can always go check out the game at Queen Anne Beer Hall. Just saying. Get some dinner.
It will be on the TVs.
Yep, get some dinner, watch the game there with some Kraken fans. Should be a lot of fun. Then you listen to the post game on the way home. It's perfect. It's perfect. I just gave you guys all the perfect Friday night out. Enjoy it. I was gonna say on me, but you could pay your own way. All right, everybody. We'll see you all tomorrow night after this Rangers game, and hopefully Kraken victory.